Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to visit his country. During an interview, Zelensky said, "We are ready to see him here." China has responded, saying it maintains communication with all parties involved in the ongoing war, including Ukraine. This comes days after Xi's visit to Russia. The International Atomic Energy Agency chief, Rafael Grossi, has arrived at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. This is his second visit to Europe's largest nuclear power plant since the war broke out in February last year. The aim is to get a first-hand assessment of the security situation at the facility. Ukraine has accused Russia of holding the nuclear power plant hostage. Ukraine's military officials have said that Russian forces have not made progress in capturing the cities of Bakhmut and Avdiivka. However, officials installed by Russia claim otherwise. Ukraine said that Russian forces are simply trying to exhaust Ukrainian troops with constant attacks. It also claims that Russia suffered high combat deaths during the offensive. Police have released more details about the 28-year-old suspect who killed 6 people, including 3 children, in a Nashville school in the US. Audrey Hale had an emotional disorder and was under a doctor's care. Despite this, Hale had legally purchased 7 guns, out of which 3 were carried at the time of the shooting. Dramatic body cam footage of the school shooting in Nashville has been released. It shows police officers firing multiple bullets at the suspect, Audrey Hale, and conducting searches. Shots can be heard seconds before Hale comes into view and collapses on the floor. One officer then fired an additional round of shots at Hale. Dozens of migrants have died after a fire broke out at a migrant detention center in a Mexican city. The migrants were from Central and South America. According to Mexico's president, the fire broke out after migrants set fire to mattresses. This was apparently done in protest after they discovered they would be deported. Pro-migrant activists gathered outside the center, asking authorities to act and deliver justice. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has said that external pressure will not stop the island nation from engaging with the world. She made the statement right before leaving for the US. Tsai will be heading to Central American nations of Guatemala and Belize. She will transit through New York and Los Angeles. Tsai is also expected to meet US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. China has threatened to retaliate if Taiwan's president meets the US House Speaker. China's Taiwan Affairs Office spokesperson said, if Tsai contacts McCarthy, it will be another provocation that seriously violates the One China principle, harms China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. China also said that the move will destroy peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan and the Czech Republic have signed several memorandums of understanding to strengthen their bilateral partnership. A Czech delegation with about 150 officials arrived in Taipei last week. Taiwan seeks to boost ties with the Czech Republic at a time when its former ally Honduras established diplomatic relations with China. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dismissed US President Joe Biden's call to walk away from his proposed judicial overhaul. Netanyahu said, and I quote, "Israel is a sovereign country which makes its decisions by the will of its people and not based on pressures from abroad, including from the best friends." The White House had initially suggested Netanyahu seek a compromise. The proposal has been suspended after massive protests. Paris continues to face protests against pension reforms. In the latest, protesters threw projectiles at the police. In turn, police officials fired tear gas at the protesters. This comes after the government rejected trade union demands to suspend and rethink the proposal. Under the pension reform bill, the retirement age in France will be raised from 62 years to 64 years. Millions of people have been protesting against this since mid-January. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has defended his plans to detain children arriving in the UK on small boats. Sunak said, and I quote, "It's important that we don't inadvertently create a policy that incentivizes people to bring children who wouldn't otherwise come here." According to Sunak's new illegal migration bill, migrants will be detained in the UK, then sent back to their home country within a few weeks. Migrants won't be able to claim asylum or benefit from modern slavery protections. The military-appointed election commission in Myanmar is expected to dissolve the political party led by the country's ousted leader, Aung San Suu Kyi. This comes after the party declined to register for a planned general election that it calls a sham. A former party lawmaker said, and I quote, "We do not accept that an election will be held when many political leaders and activists have been arrested and people are being tortured by the military." Suu Kyi is serving a prison sentence of 33 years. She was ousted during a military coup in February 2021. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz hosted Kenyan President William Ruto in Berlin. Ruto's Berlin visit came at a time when Kenya is grappling with a high cost of living crisis, partly because of the Russia-Ukraine war. He highlighted that many countries, including Kenya, need help in accessing fertilizers and grain. The objective of his visit was to encourage Germany's business community to invest in Kenya. People in the South American country of Ecuador are protesting. They're demanding an impeachment trial against the country's president over an alleged corruption case. Protesters marched to Ecuador's constitutional court.
¡Que viva el pueblo organizado!
Northern Italy is witnessing wildfires. A wildfire raged in the province of Arese. A report by the European Commission observed a lack of rain and warmer than normal temperatures during the winter. The report has raised a drought warning for Spain, France, Ireland, Britain, Greece and northern Italy. The Prime Minister of the Pacific island nation of Vanuatu has called upon world leaders to act quickly against climate change to avoid the apocalypse. Vanuatu filed a resolution at the UN General Assembly. It seeks the opinion of the International Court of Justice on the climate obligation of other countries. Many countries have pledged to reduce greenhouse gas emissions under the Paris Agreement. However, the pledges are not binding. A UNICEF report has found that children in Thailand are at high risk from climate change. The primary climate hazards affecting them include floods, droughts and high temperatures. It can cause water contamination, the spread of diseases and food insecurity. Those living in the northeastern and southern provinces face the highest risk. The Climate Change Committee has said that the UK is strikingly unprepared for the impacts of the climate crisis. Experts say that there had been a lost decade in efforts to adapt for the impact of global heating. The CCC pointed out that climate damages will inevitably intensify for decades to come. It has warned that government action is now urgently needed to protect people, their homes and livelihood. Hundreds of the UK's leading scientists have urged Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to halt licensing of new oil and gas developments in the UK. This comes ahead of an anticipated launch of a revised net zero and energy security strategy. Experts say that there must be no new developments of oil and gas for the world to limit global heating to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Switzerland's UBS has rehired its former CEO Sergio Ermotti to spearhead the takeover of Credit Suisse. Ermotti, who had earlier served as the company's CEO from 2011 to 2020, will assume the new role from April 5th. The new CEO's immediate challenges will be executing thousands of layoffs. He will also be cutting back on Credit Suisse's investment bank and reassuring UBS's financial worthiness. The US Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation has informed the crypto clients of Signature Bank to close their accounts by April 5th. These deposits are not part of the rescue deal arranged with Flagstar Bank. Earlier this month, Flagstar had agreed to buy some assets of the now collapsed Signature Bank. Traders are pulling billions of dollars from Binance as problems plaguing the world's largest crypto exchange continue to mount. The US Commodity Futures Trading Commission sued Binance on Monday. The watchdog is alleging that the exchange operated illegally in the US and violated rules designed to prevent illicit financial activity. Alibaba Group Holding has said that it plans to split its business into 6 main units. These units will cover e-commerce, media and cloud business. These separate units will also explore fundraising or initial public offerings. This marks the biggest restructuring of the conglomerate in its 24-year history. The company's Hong Kong-listed shares surged as much as 16% after the news. US-based electric vehicle maker Lucid is laying off around 1,300 employees. This is about 18% of its workforce. This comes as part of the company's cost-cutting methods under its restructuring plans. The reductions will affect nearly every organization and level, including that of the executives. The company will communicate the reduction plans with all its employees over the next 3 days. Fashion retailer Next has reported better than expected quarterly profits, but it maintains a cautious outlook for its annual profits. The brand expects clothing inflation to ease and says it would not need to increase prices as much as previously thought. Next is often considered a good barometer to gauge British consumer sentiment. The National Payments Corporation of India has suggested changes to digital wallet transactions. The NPCI has suggested an additional fee on transactions done through Unified Payments Interface or UPI. The governing body has said that it would levy an interchange fee of up to 1.1% on transactions above 2,000 rupees. The changes will be implemented from the 1st of April. A research by media regulator Ofcom shows the number of children using TikTok and Snapchat rose in the UK. The study found a slight increase in both the apps' popularity in the past year. Major social media apps, including Snapchat and TikTok, have been facing mounting pressure over user safety, especially amongst minors. Apple has launched its Buy Now, Pay Later service in the US. The service, Apple Pay Later, will allow users to split purchases into 4 parts over 6 weeks. This marks the entry of one of the strongest players that threatened to disrupt the fintech sector. It will initially be available only to select users, while plans of a full rollout can be expected in the coming months. JP Morgan's Chief Executive Officer, Jamie Dimon, will be deposed in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Dimon will be interviewed under oath about his bank's relationship with Epstein. Media reports suggest that the deposition could take place in May. Late sex offender Epstein was JP Morgan's client from 2000 to 2013. Women who claim to have been sexually abused by Epstein are suing the bank for allegedly enabling his sex trafficking business. Indian football sensation Sunil Chhetri has scored his 85th international goal. With the goal, Chhetri has overtaken Hungary's Ferenc Puskás as the 5th highest international goal scorer in the history of football. Chhetri is overall 3rd in the list of active footballers with the most international goals, behind only Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo and Argentina's Lionel Messi. Belgium beat Germany 3-2 in a friendly match on Tuesday, piling pressure on the 2024 Euro Cup hosts. The German side was completely outclassed in the first half as Belgium attacked at will. Both teams are eager to bounce back from their shocking group stage exits in the FIFA World Cup last year. Peru national football team captain and goalkeeper Pedro Galiz was released without any charges after being detained by Spanish police in Madrid. Madrid police detained him ahead of a friendly match between Peru and Morocco. There was a violent altercation between Peruvian players and the police outside the team's hotel on Monday night. The next edition of the Indian Women's League will start from April 25th. The All India Football Federation decided the dates during its league committee meeting on Monday. AIFF also decided to allow teams to recruit 3 foreign players, with a maximum of 2 allowed on the field at any time. The Indian Women's League was founded in 2016. Hervé Renard has resigned as Saudi Arabia coach so he can take over the France women's team. This is ahead of this year's Women's World Cup. The 54-year-old Frenchman was appointed as coach of Saudi Arabia in July 2019. He led the country to a famous 2-1 win over eventual winners Argentina at the World Cup in Qatar last year. The French women's team is currently ranked 5th in the world. France will be looking to win its first Women's World Cup at this year's showpiece. In cricket, West Indies has claimed a 2-1 series win against South Africa following a win at the 3rd T20 International in Johannesburg. Winning the toss and electing to bowl first, the South Africans had a target of 221. The Proteas fell short of 7 runs in the dramatic finals of the tournament. Reza Hendricks's laudable 83 from 44 balls wasn't enough for South Africa to register a win. Former Australian captain Steve Smith has revealed he will be back in IPL 2023, but as a commentator. The 16th edition of IPL begins on Friday in Ahmedabad. Smith last played for Delhi Capitals in IPL 2021. He posted a 15-second clip on his social media about his IPL return, creating a stir amongst his fans. 16-year-old Canadian swimmer Summer McIntosh has set the world record in the 400-meter freestyle category. She broke the world record by 0.32 seconds at the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre. McIntosh broke the record previously held by Australia's Ariane Titmus. On breaking the world record, McIntosh said she felt pure euphoria. Porsche's plans to move into Formula One have been formally put on ice. The German manufacturer is now focusing its racing activities on sports cars and Formula E. According to media reports, Porsche has now decided against pursuing options in Grand Prix racing. The decision has been made after it came very close to a deal with Red Bull last year. The National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences announced that Bryant Gumbel will be honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 44th Sports Emmy. The celebrated American sports journalist is set to be facilitated at the Lincoln Center's Rose Hall in New York City on May 22nd. Humble said that after 50 years in the business, sharing the same honor with men like Jim McKay, Howard Cosell and Vin Scully is heady stuff. LA Pride has announced headliners for the 2023 LA Pride in the Park Festival. Singer Mariah Carey and rapper Megan Thee Stallion are part of the lineup. Megan will perform on June 9th, while Carey will perform on the 10th. The 2-day festival will take place at the Los Angeles State Historic Park. Actors Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult are reuniting after 18 years. The two are starring in the horror comedy Renfield. Cage plays the role of Dracula while Hoult plays his henchman. They played a father-son duo in the 2005 film The Weatherman. Renfield will release on the 14th of April. Priyanka Chopra Jonas is now a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science. The Indian actor is serving on the executive committee of the Actors Branch. Eligibility for selection is based on an Oscar nomination. Priyanka Chopra Jonas starred in the Oscar-nominated feature The White Tiger. Singers Kendrick Lamar and Khalid are among the performers at the Life is Beautiful festival. The 10th anniversary edition of the music festival will be held in Las Vegas. The festival will take place from the 22nd to the 24th of September. Tickets for the festival go on sale from March 30th. Actors Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick are returning to the Trolls films. The two will star in the threequel Trolls Band Together. Indian origin British actor Kunal Nair is also part of the film. The film will release on the 17th of November. Netflix has unveiled the first look of Japanese sumo series Sanctuary. The show follows a kid who goes on to become a sumo wrestler. Netflix will begin streaming Sanctuary from the 4th of May. The streaming platform has been ramping up the production of Japanese content. The Cannes Film Festival has renewed its partnership with TikTok. The partnership covers the festival's short film competition. This marks the second year of their collaboration. This renewal comes amid debates over TikTok's privacy and data security record. France recently banned the app on government-issued devices. The documentary called Twice Colonized will open the 30th Hot Docs Festival. Danish filmmaker Lynn Aluna has made the documentary. It follows lawyer Arju Peter and her work for the Arctic's indigenous people. A total of 214 films will be screened at the Hot Docs Festival. It will take place from April 27th to May 7th in Toronto. Lollapalooza Brazil is offering refunds after Drake bailed out as headliner. The rapper was supposed to close the three-day event. Drake couldn't perform citing unforeseen circumstances. DJ Skrillex took over his slot. Lollapalooza is now giving a variety of ticketing alternatives and refund options till the 5th of April. Sky Studios has cancelled the supernatural crime thriller The Rising. The decision has come just months before Season 2 production was to start. The second season was titled Risen. The makers had planned to turn the show into an anthology. The show was released in March last year.
कि कानून इसके बारे में जो